Dee Dee Summerman shops at this natural food store on the Danforth regularly.
I think there's no price you can put on health.
Even though organic fruits and vegetables are sometimes more expensive than conventional produce, Summerman says it's worth it.
I assume they're pesticide-free. In fact, I don't even rinse my organic vegetables and fruits.
The organic food business is booming. The sales have jumped from $3.5 billion in 1997 to more than $31 billion last year.
For you tonight, toxic chemicals could be in the products you use every day, even if the label says natural or organic.
Let's be real. Most of us see the word organic on a food label and automatically assume it means better, healthier, purer, worth the extra money. But what if I told you that a huge chunk of the organic industry is built on lies?
The recent headlines about a major scientific study called into doubt everything you think you know about organic foods. The takeaway was that organic fruits and vegetables are not healthier than conventional fruits and vegetables, and therefore not worth the money.
That a massive percentage of so-called organic food isn't actually organic at all, and that you could be shelling out double the price for food that's no different, sometimes worse, than the conventional stuff sitting right next to it. The organic food industry is booming. In 2024, the global market size was valued at $228.35 billion US, and it's expected to more than double by 2034. That's a lot of money on the table, and whenever there's that much cash involved, you can bet big agriculture, big food, and massive corporations are jumping in to get their cut, even if that means cutting corners, deceiving consumers, and exploiting loopholes. When you buy organic, you are not only buying a product, but an assurance about the quality of that product. We like to think of organic food as something pure, untouched by chemicals, grown on small family farms by people who genuinely care. And sure, that might have been the case once upon a time. But today, the reality is much different. Major corporations completely dominate the organic industry, buying out small brands, controlling supply chains, and mass-producing organic labeled food, just like they do conventional products. But unlike conventional food, organic food comes with a significantly higher price tag, and they love that.
My wife's into the organic products. I didn't know this. Organic is a grocery term meaning twice as expensive. She bought me a natural deodorant and printed on the label it said, "does not work." At least they're being honest.
Farmers and corporations looking to scam their way to the top have infiltrated the organic food industry.
Organic foods are everywhere, but now the USDA is cracking down with new rules that will make it harder to claim that organic label.
This is the single largest revision to the organic standards since they've been published initially in 2000.
Let's talk about a farmer in South Dakota, Kent Dwayne Anderson. He made $71 million selling thousands of tons of conventionally grown grain falsely labeled as organic. $71 million. He went on to buy an $8 million yacht, a $2.4 million home, a bunch of luxury cars, and was living a very extravagant lifestyle. Meanwhile, the people buying his fake organic products truly thought they were feeding their families healthier food. While Anderson is now in prison, the damage was already done, and this begs the question, how did he get away with this for so long? And unfortunately, he's not the only one. James Clayton Wolfe, a so-called certified organic farmer, pulled off a $46 million fraud scheme by selling non-GMO grains falsely labeled as organic. Randy Constant scammed people for over $140 million doing the same thing. It gets worse. His fake organic grain was sold to livestock farmers, meaning that even organic meat and dairy products could have come from animals fed conventional feed. This is just the tip of the iceberg. There have been multiple high-profile cases of farmers and companies caught mislabeling food, yet the problem keeps happening. Oversight is weak, and the profits are just too good to pass up. If you think the USDA or FDA is out here working overtime to protect consumers from fraud in the organic food industry, think again. The reality is that the system is so corrupt and poorly regulated that fake organic products can easily flood the market without anyone even noticing.
We want to turn now to part 2 in our series on the safety of America's food. There's a long list of chemicals and additives that are allowed in the U.S. but are banned in Europe and other places over health concerns.
Some ingredients, I have no idea what they are, how to pronounce them. I want the best for my children, and I would think that as a society, we want the best for our children.
There are more than 10,000 chemicals and additives allowed in food in the U.S., often in small amounts, but many have not been evaluated by the FDA in decades. The majority are safe, but some chemicals allowed here have been banned overseas after research has linked them to cancer and developmental or behavioral issues.
Let's start with the FDA, the agency responsible for inspecting food imports coming into the U.S. You'd think they'd have a rigorous system in place, considering how much of our food, especially organic labeled products, is imported from other countries. But here's the shocking truth. The FDA inspects only up to 2% of all food imports. That means a staggering 98% of imported food, including fruits, vegetables, grains, and packaged goods labeled as organic, never get tested. Now let's talk about the USDA, the agency that oversees organic certification. You might assume that they have strict testing protocols to ensure that anything labeled organic actually meets the standards. But here's where things get even crazier. The USDA only requires residue testing on 5% of organic products that each certifying agency oversees. Just 5%. That means if an organic certifying agency is responsible for verifying 1,000 farms, they only need to test 50 of them for pesticide and chemical residues. The other 950, they're never tested at all. Think about how easy that makes it for fraudsters to slip through the cracks. If you were running a business and knew there was a 95% chance that your product would never be tested, would you take the risk? A lot of people do. And they're making billions off consumers who trust that little green USDA organic label. Let's not forget that many of these organic certifying agencies are third-party organizations, which means they are paid by the very farms and companies they certify. If a certifier is making money from a farm's organic label, do you really think they're going to go out of their way to find something wrong? The system is set up in a way that encourages greed over integrity, and consumers are the ones paying the price. This intentional malpractice isn't just a minor issue. It completely undermines the credibility of the organic food industry. If there are no real consequences for these blatant crimes, why would dishonest producers stop? The truth is, organic fraud is widespread, and the government is both complicit and deliberately doing next to nothing to stop it.
You sit on a throne of lies.
You might have been led to believe that dairy is one of the safer organic options out there, but even these products have been compromised. Take Horizon Organic, one of the biggest names in the organic milk industry. Their milk was found to contain omega-3 rich fatty acid oil made from corn syrup-fed algae. That means they took an industrially processed oil, brewed in vats, and added it to their milk, all while keeping that sweet and trusty organic label as a disguise to fool you. Horizon Organic wasn't the only one. Costco's Kirkland Organic Milk does something similar. They add refined fish oil and boast about high omega-3 levels. If organic is supposed to be natural, why are we getting lab-grown additives in our milk? How is this still considered organic? Well, the USDA allowed this to continue for 5 years before admitting it was a mistake. But by then, over 26 million gallons of this organic milk had already been sold. Let's talk about another massive loophole in the organic food industry: hydroponics. In countries like Canada, Mexico, Japan, New Zealand, and the entire European Union, hydroponically grown food cannot be labeled organic. These nations recognize that organic farming is meant to be deeply connected to the soil, not a system where plants grow in water-based solutions with added nutrients. But in the United States, the USDA allows hydroponically grown produce to be certified organic, even though it never touches soil. This is a huge contradiction. The entire foundation of organic farming is built on soil health and biodiversity. True organic farming focuses on nurturing the land, promoting microbial life, and building soil fertility over time. It's about regenerating the ecosystem, not just producing crops without synthetic pesticides. This method of farming is extremely profitable for large agribusinesses. They can grow crops in stacked systems, use artificial lighting, and mass-produce food year-round, without worrying about soil depletion, crop rotation, or natural ecosystems. It's a factory farming approach to organic food, and it allows massive corporations to cash in on the organic label without following the principles that organic farming was meant to uphold. And here's where it gets even worse. Hydroponic farms often rely on synthetic nutrient solutions to feed the plants. These solutions don't come from the soil, they're man-made and chemically processed. And yet, hydroponic produce still gets that premium organic label at the grocery store. If organic is supposed to mean grown in harmony with nature, how does it make sense that a plant grown in a plastic tub of nutrient water is considered just as organic as one grown in healthy, regenerative soil? The answer is simple: it doesn't. The USDA's decision to allow hydroponics under the organic label is yet another example of how big agriculture influences regulations to increase their profits, even if it means completely watering down the definition of organic. So, after all of this, you might be wondering, is organic food even worth it? The answer is yes, but only if you're actually getting real organic food. When done right, organic farming means food grown without glyphosate, a chemical linked to cancer, without toxic pesticides, and without synthetic additives. It means healthier soil, more nutrients, and fewer contaminants. But here's the problem: you can't trust the label anymore.
Well, I hope so. I bought some steaks here yesterday, and they weren't very good.
Maybe you cooked them wrong.
You don't know me, so I'll pretend I didn't hear that. I'm gonna have to ask to talk to the head butcher.
We don't actually have a butcher anymore. Our meat comes pre-wrapped.
Dang it. I just want a good steak.
You could try our organic line, Megal Organic, but I think that's just the same stuff with a different label.
If you want legitimate organic food, you need to take extra steps to make sure you're getting what you pay for. The best way is to know your farmer. Buying directly from small local farms gives you a much better chance of getting high-quality organic produce. Farmers markets, community-supported agriculture programs, and farm-to-table sources are some of the best ways to ensure transparency. Never blindly trust grocery store labels. Big food corporations overshadow the organic industry, exploiting loopholes and misleading consumers. The wolves have taken over. If you want full control over your food, grow your own. Even if it's just a small garden with a few herbs or vegetables, knowing exactly what goes into your produce means you won't have to second-guess what's really in it. Another option is to switch to an animal-based diet, focusing on pasture-raised grass-fed meats and raw dairy from trusted sources, rather than heavily processed plant-based products that come with hidden additives and misleading organic claims. At the end of the day, the word organic doesn't automatically mean better. If you're paying premium prices, make sure the food is actually worth it. Know where it comes from, don't fall for marketing tricks, and stay informed. If there's one thing we've learned today, it's this: you can't trust the label. Thanks for watching. Please like this video, press the subscribe button, and drop your thoughts in the comments section.
Where the working man does his best to provide safety and shelter for kids and a wife, giving a little of his soul every day, making overtime to keep the wolves away.